Here, this is such a beautiful story. It's very intense, though, the work you've put into it. Was there something about Billy or even the film itself that drew you to be a part of this?
Yeah, I would say when I read anything, obviously I read the whole script, but I always, put a lot of my energy and attention into the character specifically. Like there are some times that I go, wow, this is a great script, but this someone else is probably more right for this role. Or sometimes it's as simple as like, this is fantastic, but this is something I've done a million times before. This doesn't really appeal to me as an actor. And so this was a great opportunity where I went, oh wow, I've never really played the antagonist in anything, or an antagonist. And he's complicated and layered, and you know, the the fact that he's struggling with a heroin addiction is something that like I can't personally relate to, but I've watched a lot of my friends go through. And so I felt, maybe that gave me a little more insight into creating a more layered performance in that way. So yeah, I mean, I would say like the part itself was a big motivator, and then overall, I just thought, yeah, this is a really fun, interesting, not fun. It's heavy, but it's a challenge, an interesting challenge.
Ruby, what kind of information did you get between Linda and Willie's backstory as far as their initial relationship and where it currently stands between them?
Yeah, well, I think my experience was a little bit different than Keir and James Matteo's, because Linda, while there was a real life Linda Papaleo, the character that Steve created is sort of an amalgamation of a bunch of different wives of Willie, because he was married 6 times. So there's less of a direct, yeah, he stayed busy. There's less of a direct sort of one-to-one comparison between like Linda Papaleo in the film and Linda Papaleo in real life, because we borrowed sort of bits and pieces of the past of multiple of his partners. So I had a lot more creative license to sort of decide things about this character that are more typical of like, when you're not playing a real life person, more typical of the experience of becoming an actor. And then our process was, pretty heavily improvisational. Rob Kolodny would have us sort of roll for between 5 and 10 minutes before we taped almost any scene in the movie so that he could interview us as the director of the documentary. And I think we got to create and invent some like really fun pieces of backstory here and there. I don't really know much about the actual Linda Papaleo, which a little bit again is circumstantially due to the fact that the person that I'm playing is uh, borrowed from the ether and multiple different sources. But I do know that Willie went on to have another couple marriages after her time, and he had had three before her. And so his relationship to women was probably a little tempestuous at times. And I think that is certainly mirrored in the dynamic that you see in the film.
Here, this is intense for you. Is there a way that you shake off a long day of, or a way that you did shake off a long day of putting on this persona of Billy?
Mm, I guess. I mean, it was interesting on this one because, when you're on location, I mean, pretty much the entire cast and crew were not local to Hartford. And so, we were all staying in the same hotel. So I guess like in a weird way, like I was just describing this in another interview where it's just like it's not a fun subject matter, but it was such a great group and I felt so supported and like everybody's worked together a bunch before, like especially like Rob and Rob's partner Bennett who produced on this, like it's and Ruby's super tight with all of them. They're like this amazing friend group that I got to walk into. And yeah, so we pretty much would hang out after work almost every day, which was really fun. And it's like one of the when it you like the group, it's great being on location, being able to do that. Otherwise, like I prefer to be home where I just go home and like hang out with my dog and my partner. But yeah, we kind of just like goofed around and like played pool. If the one bar in the hotel was open, we'd play pool. I mean, it's yeah, it's kind of surprisingly just light I mean, maybe that's the thing to do is not stay in it and in fact go do something fun, you know?
Ruby, what are you taking away from working on this beautiful project?
Oh my goodness. Well, I feel because it's my first movie, um, a real sense of confidence in doing more on-screen work because I'm very proud of the work that I did. I think coming in, this was such a new experience for me. And Rob had a lot of belief in me as an actor and my ability to deliver the performance that he envisioned. And I don't know, I think every actor to some extent has walked onto a set and felt huge imposter syndrome and the fear that like oh my god, like what if I don't deliver, like what if I can't do it, I think I can, but what if I can't. So the confidence that it has given me to be able to look at the work and feel a sense of pride as opposed to a sense of like deep shame and regret, I think will like carry me through the next chapter of my career. And I will really always be so grateful to everybody who I got to work on this project with because I mean, I really, like Kier was saying, like I cannot have asked for like a better group of people to have done something as vulnerable as like make my first like leading role in a movie. And I just had a great time. And so I guess yeah, I guess I think confidence is the short answer to that question.